So yeah, Kyle's like a Wimbledon player. He runs out there, lights it up, comes back.
the glass for Andre Brown out of Chicago Leo High School, a future DePaul Blue Demon, and Howell answers for the East.
If you enjoy a basket a little bit too long in this game, you're going to get dunked on at the other end.
Marcus Taylor hitting the runner, his first two.
We saw 3 baskets in the span of about 8 seconds there.
Not atypical at all. Brown overthrowing Miles. He runs it down and feeds Randolph. First field goal for Zach. One of the top 6 high school programs in USA Today in high school basketball. Marion, Indiana, another state championship. Their 7th. One last week. Miles trying to make every play, offensive and defensive. Randolph 6'9", 270. He figures eventually will play the 3, the small forward that Morris Peterson has been handling for the last 4 years.
Coaches today said that if you're looking for a diamond in the rough from what they've seen in practice, Zach Randolph is the man. He's going to be playing for Tom Izzo. And there's a story about how Tom Izzo, after a late season game, see the nice finish in the paint against Purdue, in which he didn't like his team's toughness. Tom Izzo brought out shoulder pads and helmets and let his players play practice like that for a few minutes. Zach Randolph seems like he'd fare very well in that type of practice.
Looks like he already wears shoulder pads. Andre Barrett, smallest man out there at 5'9", somehow ends up with that follow shot. Puts the East back in front by 1 inside the final minute of the first quarter. Taylor sets it up for Brown, and Andre only too happy to get the finish. The Chicago Catholic League Player of the Year, a 3-time All-Illinois selection. And the biggest man in the game, Neil Fingleton, misses. Wallace rejected by Miles, tie it up. And the possession arrow will send it the other way. Neil Fingleton, 7'6", 310 pounds. Worcester, Mass. Moved there from Durham, England 2 years ago. And odd to know that a Durham native is going to play for North Carolina. Durham, England, we're talking about. Marcus Taylor, West by 3. Another steal for Miles. Duhon, a nice look over. Late surge here to end the first quarter by the West All-Americas. Side of the glass that time by Eddie Griffin. West ball with time for one more. 6.5 seconds.
See Duhon there. I believe eventually that Jason Williams and Duhon will be the best backcourt in all of America. I just see them as 2 smart players who will complement each other well.
Fingleton, a bit short time for Miles, but not time for that.
He's okay. That's not going to bother him.
End of the first quarter. And the first quarter stars, you're looking at one of them, Darius Miles, had 8. Deshaun Stevenson leads with 10. 11 by Darius Rice to lead the East. West by 5 after 1 in Boston.
Is advised. You own just one racing game, it has to be Hydra Thunder. You've never seen anything like this. For 2 players, or 1, Hydra Thunder. Rated E from Midway.
Hello? Yeah, where are you? No. Excuse me, I'm working. It's the opera and I'm gonna catch a red eye tonight. Yeah. That's right. What? Ah!
Stay in touch without disturbing anyone with 2-way paging and email from SkyTel for first name and advanced messaging.
Ever feel like you're sinking? You struggle to hold on. trying not to lose control. But when you reach the breaking point, you just snap. Vans. Going mental since '66.
The NIT party rocks on in the House of Hoops. The road to Garden Glory stops here. Who will be king of the Big Apple? Wake Forest, Notre Dame, the NIT Championship. Tomorrow at 7 on ESPN.
Dave Barnett, Tim McCormick, Mike Gleason back at the Fleet Center in Boston, where the West leads the East in the 2000s McDonald's All-America game 37-32. The headlines last year in Ames, Iowa belong to Jonathan Bender, 6'11", but with terrific three-point shooting form as he displayed it en route to a game record 31 points. They came from all over the floor, and they bested Michael Jordan's McDonald's scoring record, set in 1981 of 30 points, and a couple of guys on that pace already, Deshaun Stevenson and Darius Rice. Let's send it over to Mike Gleason.
All right, Dave, as far as the other Darius Miles, committed to St. John's. We're joined by Ron Briscoe from the Regional Basketball Report. And Ron, you're telling me that there's some talk, a lot of talk, that he might not be going to St. John.
He may not be. You know, it's been several posts in the papers and things being said this week that Darius Miles, may not be able to make it grade-wise. And the pro scouts really like him. And as the fans are seeing that he's doing an outstanding job getting out on the break and making some big-time slam. So he may opt to go to the NBA right out of high school. He's a good player.
Sounds like he's leaning that way, Dave.
And Ron wanted us to say hi to his mom and happy birthday to Viola Briscoe. Ron helped us out quite a bit today. Member of the selection committee.
And Ron knows his stuff. He'll tell you about Darius, that he loves to play in transition. He loves to drive right. He likes his eggs sunny side up for breakfast. I mean, he knows everything about these guys.
Well, if he does end up at St. John's, he said it's because he enjoyed the feeds he got in previous All-Star games from Omar Cook. His teammate there.
And he has 8 points. He's on pace for 32. And that would be the all-time record. Also, Darius Miles with 11.
West by 5. Cook and Taylor at the point. Griffin now guarded by Brian Boddicker. Duncanville, Texas, headed to the University of Texas. And the rebound stolen by Jerome Harper. And for the first time, Eddie Griffin with 9 now. Second only to Darius Rice for the East.
You had made the comparison between Eddie Griffin and Tim Duncan earlier to see a nice post move down by Zach Randolph. You know who I see Eddie Griffin as a very young and talented Scottie Pippen.
A little bit bigger at 6'9" even.
Yep, long arms.
Look at Randolph handle the ball. 6'9", 270 baseline to bucket. Man. Zach Randolph, obviously not just a low post star at Marion, Indiana. Fingleton lost it out of bounds. You just don't see this from a guy this young, that size.
No, he's a bull in the china shop, and I can promise you that nobody's going to take a charge on that runaway train. And if we're talking about comparisons here, how about Carlos Boozer at Duke? Same kind of body, same kind of skills with the ball.
Boddicker missing the three. Randolph out battling Neil Fingleton again. And Zach Randolph has the first 6 points of the second quarter for the West. Ron Briscoe still over there with Mike Gleason. Any late breaking news about Zach Randolph, Mike?
Well, Dave, Ron Briscoe feels that Zach Randolph could be the diamond in the rough of all these fantastic athletes we're watching out here tonight. He says he might produce more next year as a freshman than a lot of these players. Talking with Zach earlier today, he says he can't wait to put that Spartan green on and bang with Al, Anna Gagne, and Hudson. He says he wishes the Big Ten season would start tomorrow.
Well, it is not hard at all to imagine him in that uniform, playing their style. Well, again challenged by the 7'6" Fingleton, who blocks Boddicker. Harper stolen by Duhan. 3-on-none Randolph in a generous mood, and Brian Boddicker gets his first 2.
And I can promise you this. I don't care what kind of dunk I see. That play from Zach Randolph is my play of the game. He could have dunked it, but he gave it up to his teammates. I'm so impressed with that. That's what it's all about right there, Dave.
Eddie Griffin with his second three-pointer at the other end. And up to 12 points. Future Seton Hall Pirate. Randolph finally missing. Jeffries with persistence on the offensive glass. No finish this time. Fingleton to Cook. Harper, count it. Jerome Harper from Columbia, South Carolina.
We have a good basket. 3, grab, 1.
They're playing the role of the setup man. Randolph has had his chances so far, so he shares the wealth. And notice on the last play, getting to the basket, getting up top, 3-point delivery.
Now, Jerome Harper, once upon a time, was headed to Cincinnati, now undecided. Some academic questions, some off-the-court incidents leading to his being dropped by Cincinnati as a recruit. Now considering whether to go the JUCO route for a year, maybe the CBA, maybe enter the NBA draft. Very much undecided when we talked to him earlier today. Oh, what action off the glass that time by Stevenson. Reminiscent of the Iceman, George Gervin.
Red foul. 1, 3, block. Balls in the end line.
Deshaun would make George Gervin proud with this maneuver.
Yes. Classic baseline operator with a little midair creation with the opposite hand. Is this opposite hand? Absolutely lefty. He told us that he watched the NBA dunk contest, focused in on Vince Carter to try to add a couple new moves to his repertoire.
Miles back in, as is Alton Ford. Ford has also shown some maneuverability for a guy his size. Now Griffin fouled by Stevenson, and Eddie Griffin taking over the second quarter for the East All-Americans. 14 points, now game high for the former Philadelphia Roman Catholic star. Final Four women's college basketball action coming your way here on ESPN this Friday. Semifinals from the First Union Center in Philadelphia beginning at 7. Rutgers, Tennessee, followed by UConn, Penn State. On ESPN, the exclusive home of the women's NCAA basketball tournament. Griffin gets the three-point play, and the East within 4. Spinning on the baseline, missing. Andre Brown, and Griffin there for the rebound. Austin running the floor. Mishandled. Another steal by Miles. Luke Ridnour with the three-pointer. Future Oregon Duck gets his own rebound and lost out of bounds by Gerald Wallace.
Dave, as we watch these guys and we're so impressed, you know what I like most about them? They're good students, too. Excellent students.
Almost to a man. Lots of GPAs, almost as impressive as their accomplishments on the floor. Midway second quarter, West by 4 at a sold-out Fleet Center in Boston.
When you were 6, it was roller skates. When you were 10, it was a bike. When you were 16, it was a car. When exactly did this happen?
Now it's easy to buy e-business tools direct from IBM at IBM.com or 888-SHOP-IBM. Like a ThinkPad with an Intel Celeron or Intel Pentium 3 processor. Call today and get free same-day shipping on select ThinkPads.
Starting Sunday, it's the Classic Madness Marathon. 26 straight hours of college hoops that will put you over the edge. 2 days of classic Final Four games that will make you go psycho. Shots that are insane. And games that are positively upsetting. Watch the Classic Madness Marathon. 26 straight hours of the greatest Final Four games in history. Start Sunday at 6, only on ESPN Classic. To get ESPN Classic, call 1-800-CLASSIC today.
West by 4 back in Boston. Mike Leeson with by far the most popular man every year, the McDonald's All-America Game. Chairman of the Advisory Committee, the Wizard of Westwood, John Wooden. Mike?
Thank you very much, Dave. Hard to imagine. 10 national championships, including 7 straight. Coach Wooden, it's great to have you here. Your thoughts on the game today? The athletes are so athletic. Your thoughts maybe versus 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
Well, I think the athleticism is remarkable, just unbelievable. However, as they've become better and better, I believe that's hurt team play. I think the tendency is to let them go on their own a little too much. But they're remarkable and seem to be getting more and more so all the time.
Coach Wooden, a question I've always wanted to ask you. Of course, you had a guy by the name of Lou Alcindor at UCLA. You taught him to shoot that hook shot. You look at players today that are 6'9", 6'10", 6'11". Why is not the hook shot utilized more in college basketball?
Well, I'm a little surprised, actually, that it isn't, because it can be developed with practice, and it surprises me, and I've been asked that question before. I think there are many that could do very well if they really worked at it.
All right, Dave, you know, I talked to Jim O'Brien before the Final Four last year. We talked about the fact a lot of good coaches never get a chance to coach in a Final Four. This gentleman, 10 national championships. All you can do is say, wow.
Never happened again. 7 in a row. 89 years young. Just a treat being around John Wooden. And for the players as well. They all get to meet him, spend some time with him, get their pictures taken. West by 4. Power inside. Trevon Bryant from Long Beach, California, with his first basket of the game. One of the few still making up his collegiate mind. And Scott Hazelton from Lawrence, Massachusetts, one of the 2 home staters. Finally, Mario Austin out of York, Alabama. Right back comes a man that has yet to be stopped, Darius Miles, with 10.
If we were looking at shot allocation, what we're seeing is nothing happening from the perimeter. Everything is being made on dunks or layups.
Miles, alley-oop. Stevenson not quite ready for it. Miles didn't expect to get it back either. And little disappointment on his face that time. He was a little bit ahead of his teammates on that break. Coming up next, more high school action. These same stars elevating above the rim in the Sprite Slam Jam from UMass Boston's Clark Athletic Center. Stevenson, Duhon, Miles all on display. That's coming up next, the Sprite Slam Jam.
Well, how come we haven't talked about the field goal percentage or the turnovers? Aren't we supposed to do that?
We don't have time. I can't catch my breath. You kidding me?
The game plan is for the East, they've got to keep the turnovers under 35. And no, that's not good.
There has been defense played here, though.
There's some pretty good shot blockers on both squads. And when you see unforced turnovers like you saw there, 2 things come to mind. Unfamiliarity. These guys have only played together for a couple days. And the second thing is when you have those shot blockers looming in the paint, it throws off, makes you a little bit tentative.
Well, a cardinal rule, I would think, for any player who's not a point guard is never take your eye off the point guard, because you never know when it's coming your way. Forward block, stays after it. Big 6'10", 265-pound Alton Fuller with 4 points.
He's going to be paired next year with an unknown future star, George Williams, down at Houston. They'll be manning the power positions for Clyde Drexler.
This one out of bounds by Mario Austin.
Ford doing the dirty work, said that he loves the end-to-end action. He also likes to play a little defense. I don't know if I believe him. I think he likes to score in the paint.
Where's Scooter Sherrill gets his second basket. Known Clyde Drexler, he says, since high school days, met him well before Clyde took the head coaching job at his alma mater. Knew it was the place that he'd like to consider strongly for his college career. Made up his mind.
Now, didn't you ask him if he ever saw Phi Sigma?
I'm glad you brought that up. That has to be by far the dumbest question asked today by me until I stopped to consider he was 2 years old during Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon's Phi Slam to Jam.
He said, yeah, Dave, I was sitting there in the crib with a bottle of milk, and yeah, there was Clyde Drexler in the dream. Now, that wasn't a dumb question, because I would ask the same thing.
Well, he saw him naturally once he got of age and is well aware of their accomplishments, but not on a live basis. Sherrill will shoot one more. Zach Randolph back in to replace Bryant.
Scooter Sherrill is going to be playing for the Wolfpack next year. Herb Senick will be his coach, and very interested in the NCAA tournament. Said Michigan State will win it this year. Next year, NC State.
Bold prediction already on record for Scooter Sherrill.